Thanks for bringing us into your Sunday morning. This is Dale Johnson on KFOR FM 103.3, 1240 AM. I'm not the expert in the room. Janine Bryant is. Janine is owner of Changing Spaces SRS. This is Easy Rightsizing. Every Sunday morning we talk about your right-sizing journey, creating space, which is constructive, rather than giving up possessions, which can be a burden.
That's right.
Fair
Absolutely.
to say, Janine?
Dale, I think that's a great way of looking at it.
I'm
Creating
learning.
space. Yes, I love it. I love it.
Eventually, everyone gets organized. Some people just aren't around for it.
Isn't that the truth?
I got that statement from you. So as listeners think about that for just a little bit, explain how right-sizing is a gift.
Absolutely. That is something that I like to preach from the rooftops, is that this right-sizing process is a gift. It's a gift you give to yourself. It's a gift you give to your spouse. And it's a gift you give to your children. All right? So I'm going to talk all about it. You know, our stuff, our clutter, the stuff in our homes that we don't use, need, or want, it's heavy. It weighs on our shoulders. And I know because I see it all the time. I'm in houses each and every week. I get tours of the houses from our potential clients, and they show me the areas that they're struggling with. And I see that the weight of that stuff, it's weighing on their mind. It's weighing on their shoulders. It keeps them up at night. So if you go through this right-sizing process and let go of the stuff in your home that you're not using, that you don't need and that you don't love, it's a huge weight off your shoulders. So it really is a gift that you give to yourself. Because, you know, something else, Dale, that I think is interesting is that I think we use our stuff as a distraction sometimes, and when we focus on our stuff, it allows us to maybe not focus on other things in our lives, our relationships or our experiences. And sometimes we see our stuff as a life preserver when really it can be an anchor, and it's kind of weighing us down. And so when we shed that excess stuff, it really is a gift that we give to ourselves. It allows us to live our best possible life in the here and now. Okay. Now, going through this right-sizing process can also be a gift that you give to your spouse, because we work with so many clients who have recently lost a spouse, and not only are they dealing with grieving the loss of their spouse, one of the most difficult things you'll ever do in your life, but now they're also, on top of that, they're faced with going through all the stuff in their home and sorting through all of it. I remember several years ago, in fact, it was 9 years ago, because I was pregnant with my daughter, who is 9 years old right now. We sorted with a client for an entire summer. All right. She was moving out of a large home, and she was moving out of state to be near to her kids. And her husband had passed away. And her and her husband had done a lot of traveling. And so we were helping her to sort all summer long through all of the possessions in her home. And I remember, to this day, 9 years later, I can still remember her sitting there and saying to us, you know, if I had been doing this while my husband was still alive, it would have actually been kind of fun, because we would have been able to relive these memories and remember the travels that we had. But now doing it alone after his death, it was almost gut-wrenching, you know? So, boy, if you can go through this right-sizing process, which is a difficult, big, overwhelming process, if you can do it now while you still have a spouse, if you still have a spouse, doing it together and helping each other through it, boy, that's a gift that you can give to one another.
You probably come across people who in their lives at some point have had to clean out the home of a loved one, a mom, a dad,
absolutely,
an uncle. I have. Fortunately, I'm one of six.
Okay.
So there were 6 kids going through it. But someone, Blaze, for example, my only, will have to do that one of these days.
Absolutely. And anyone who has had to clean out the house of a parent knows what a huge process that is and what a burden it is. Again, at a time when you are grieving the loss of a parent, now you're faced with emptying out their house. So just like that quote that you opened the show with, everyone gets organized eventually. You just might not be around for it. It's actually not a quote from me. It's a professional organizer, Sue DeRoos, said that. And I use that quote all the time because it's so true. If you don't get yourself organized, someday the people you leave behind, potentially it's your children, will have to get you organized after you're gone. So if you go through this right-sizing process now and sort through everything and separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak, it's going to make that process so much easier on your children after you are gone, when they are going through and sorting through the stuff in your house.
You can think of this to be included among other responsibilities, such as making a will,
Yeah.
making prearranged funeral arrangements.
Absolutely. You know, it's really on that same level. I really view it as it's a responsibility that we all have. Okay, so just like making a will, making those arrangements for the funeral, none of us are going to get out of here alive, and we're all going to have to deal with our stuff at some point. Okay, either we're going to have to do it or our kids are. So it really is about being responsible and putting your affairs in order during the last chapter of your life. You know, Dale, there's a famous book, it was very popular, that was published a few years ago. It's called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. Have you heard of that book? No. Okay, well,
No.
It's pretty popular. And she writes this about this process. Apparently, it's a very common thing to do in Sweden, is to go through, they call it death cleaning. And once they reach a certain age, that people start going through the process of shedding their excess stuff, and they're downsizing in preparation for the day that they will die. And so this woman writes sort of a memoir of her experience doing this. It's a very interesting book. It's fascinating, and I think it's a great concept. I think that everyone should start doing that at a certain age, because you know, I know, are you planning to live forever, Dale?
No.
Me neither. None of us are. So we're all going to reach that point eventually. So we might as well be a good steward of our stuff, because like it or not, we're responsible for our stuff. We're stewards of our stuff. We're stewards of our money. We're stewards of the land. It's our responsibility, and I think we each hold a certain amount of responsibility for the stuff that we have in our lives, and that includes figuring out what's going to happen to it after we're gone.
And it starts with a phone call to Changing Spaces SRS.
Well, certainly, if you would like to hire some help to go through your stuff, that is something that we do at Changing Spaces SRS all the time. If you want to get going yourself, you can buy my book. It's called Ready to Rightsize. And I also have a companion website to that book. It's called EasyRightsizing.com. There's a lot of great tips on there on how to get started. And I'm going to go ahead and throw out that other book as a recommendation as well. It's called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning. And I think the author is Margareta Magnusson. It's a fascinating book as well. So, go ahead and go through this right-sizing process now, because it really is going to give yourself, your spouse, and your kids a whole lot of peace of mind.
And it also frees up time so you can then do other things. I was reading an article too of a couple living in a larger house. Kids are gone. They're at a financially stable place in their life, but they're surrounded by stuff, and they find themselves managing this stuff, which is time consuming. They don't garden as much. They don't travel as much. And she equated it to her stuff.
Absolutely. See, that's what I was talking about. Sometimes we have all this stuff in our lives, and the stuff, whether we realize it or not, it takes up energy and our attention. And so when we focus so much on the stuff and it keeps us busy, and we're sorting it and storing it and cleaning it and organizing it, it distracts us from actually living our life, improving our relationships, having experiences, living in the present, and making memories, right? That's what it's all about.
You see a smile on my face. I'm closing my eyes and I'm seeing a room. It's our sunroom. And if I want to get to a plant in the far corner, I will have to move a series of boxes to get to what's left of the life in that plant. And that's probably very common.
Yes, absolutely.
With people.
Now, wouldn't you love to sit out in that sunroom and drink a cup of coffee and enjoy the plants? But you can't, because there's a bunch of boxes in there. Okay?
Right. There are
so
boxes in
let's
there.
get rid of the clutter so we can enjoy our house. You know, there's a great quote that I have seen on Facebook. It says, "My house is living space, not storage space." Right?
That's right.
So how much living are you doing in your house as opposed to how much storing is happening in your house? The goal should be that you live in your house.
Now, I can hear listeners say, well, I'll eventually get around to it. But what Changing Spaces SRS offers is speed, be able to do it in a period of time so that at the end you can do it. Otherwise, it could take years, if ever.
Absolutely. You know, I always say we're kind of like personal trainers for your stuff. So
Good
when
point.
we come over, we're going to keep you focused on the task at hand. And what happens when you have someone else that you're working with, you don't get distracted by putting in a load of laundry, answering the phone, making a cup of coffee, getting distracted and going over here and doing this. We are there. We keep you focused. We keep you on task, and we get you through it. We're not going to make you do sit-ups, but we are going to make you go through your stuff. And we sort of encourage you throughout the process to keep going. So absolutely, hiring a senior move management company can help you get that task accomplished in a shorter amount of time. There's also professional organizers, or sometimes if you just need to hire ask a friend to come over or a family member to come over and just give you a little bit of support as you're going through things. That's a great solution as well.
And you do it systematically with a method at a speed that is comfortable for the client.
That's right. Absolutely. So if you want to find out more information about our services, please give us a phone call. Our phone number is 402-483-0555 and visit our website at changingspacessrs.com. Again, if you want to get started on your own, maybe you're not ready to hire someone from the outside to come in and help you, you can do this on your own. That is my message. I want to encourage people that they can make these decisions and they can be in control of their stuff and in control of their destiny. One way that you can do that is by getting my book. It's called Ready to Right Size, and it's available on my website, EasyRightsizing.com. The book is $12.95. You can get it from our office. You can get it on EasyRightsizing.com. You can also get it on Amazon. I designed the book to be a short, quick, to the point guidebook to this right-sizing process. It gives practical tips. It also gives you inspiration to get going.
And join us every Sunday morning here on KFOR for Easy Right Sizing.